हेलो बच्चा। CBSE क्लास 10th पॉलिटिकल साइंस चैप्टर 6 पार्ट 1 पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज overview. In this tour of democracy, we have come across political parties several times. In class 9th, we noticed the role of political parties in the rise of democracies, in the formation of constitutional designs, in electoral politics, and in the making and working of governments. In this textbook, we have glanced at political parties as vehicles of federal sharing of political power and as negotiator of social divisions in the arena of democratic politics. Before concluding this tour, let us take a close look at the nature and working of political parties, especially in our country. We begin by asking two common questions. Why do we need parties? How many parties are good for a democracy? In the light of these, we introduce the national and regional political parties in today's India and then look at what is wrong with political parties and what can be done about it. Why do we need political parties? Political parties are easily one of the most visible institutions in a democracy. For most ordinary citizens, democracy is equal to political parties. If you travel to remote parts of our country and speak to the less educated citizens, you could come across people who may not know anything about our constitution or about the nature of our government. But chances are that they would know something about our political parties. At the same time, this visibility does not mean popularity. Most people tend to be very critical of political parties. They tend to blame parties for all that is wrong with our democracy and our political life. Parties have become identified with social and political divisions. Therefore, it is natural to ask, do we need political parties at all? About 100 years ago, there were few countries of the world that had any political party. Now, there are few that do not have parties. Why did political parties become so omnipresent in democracies all over the world? Let us first answer what political parties are and what they do before we say why we need them. Meaning, a political party is a group of people who come together to contest elections and hold power in the government. They agree on some policies and programs for the society with a view to promote the collective good. Since there can be different views on what is good for all, parties try to persuade people why their policies are better than others. They seek to implement these policies by winning popular support through elections. Thus, parties reflect fundamental political divisions in a society. Parties are about a part of the society and thus involve partisanship. Thus, a party is known by which part it stands for, which policies it supports, and whose interest it upholds. A political party has three components: the leader, the active members, and the followers. Functions. What does a political party do? Basically, political parties fill political offices and exercise political power. Parties do so by performing a series of functions. Parties contest elections. In most democracies, elections are fought mainly among the candidates put up by political parties. Parties select their candidates in different ways. In some countries, such as the USA, members and supporters of a party choose its candidates. Now, more and more countries are following this method. In other countries like India, top party leaders choose candidates for contesting elections. Parties put forward different policies and programs, and the voters choose from them. Each of us may have different opinions and views on what policies are suitable for the society. But no government can handle such a large variety of views. In a democracy, a large number of similar opinions have to be grouped together to provide a direction in which policies can be formulated by the governments. This is what the parties do. A party reduces a vast multitude of opinions into a few basic positions which it supports. A government is expected to base its policies on the line taken by the ruling party. Now, what is partisan? A person who is strongly committed to a party, group, or faction. Partisanship is marked by a tendency to take a side and inability to take a balanced view on an issue. Third, parties play a decisive role in making laws for a country. Formally, laws are debated and passed in the legislatures. But since most of the members belong to a party, they go by the direction of the party leadership, irrespective of their personal opinions. Parties form and run governments. As we noted last year, the big policy decisions are taken by political executive that comes from the political parties. Parties recruit leaders, trains them, and then make them ministers to run the government in the way they want. Those parties that lose in the elections play the role of opposition to the parties in power by voicing different views and criticizing government for its failures or wrong policies. Opposition parties also mobilize opposition to the government. Parties shape public opinion. They raise and highlight issues. Parties have lakhs of members and activists spread all over the country. Many of the pressure groups are the extensions of political parties among different sections of society. Parties sometimes also launch movements for the resolution of the problems faced by people. Often, opinions in the society crystallize on the lines parties take. Parties provide people access to government machinery and welfare schemes implemented by governments. For an ordinary citizen, it is easy to approach a local party leader than a government officer. That is why they feel close to parties even when they do not fully trust them. Parties have to be responsive to people's needs and demands. Otherwise, people can reject those parties in the next elections. Necessity. The list of functions, in a sense, answers the question asked above. We need political parties because they perform all these functions. But we still need to ask why modern democracies cannot exist without political parties. We can understand the necessity of political parties by imagining a situation without parties. Every candidate in the elections will be independent. So, no one will be able to make any promises to the people about any major policy changes. The government may be formed, but its utility will remain ever uncertain. Elected representatives will be accountable to their constituency for what they do in the locality. But no one will be responsible for how the country runs. We can also think about it by looking at the non party based elections to the panchayat in many states. Although the parties do not contest formally, it is generally noticed that the village gets split into more than one faction, each of which puts up a panel of its candidates. This is this is exactly what the party does. That is the reason we find political parties in almost all countries of the world. Whether these countries are big or small, old or new, developed or developing. The rise of political parties is directly linked to the emergence of representative democracy. As we have seen, large scale societies need representative democracy. As societies became large and complex, they also needed some agency to gather different views on various issues and to present these to the government. They needed some way to bring various representatives together so that a responsible government could be formed. They needed a mechanism to support or restrain the government. make policies, justify or oppose them. Political parties fulfill these needs that every representative government has. We can say that parties are a necessary condition for a democracy. Thank you.